Do you dream of having your own wine collection, a cellar full of bottles waiting for the perfect occasion? The truth is, building one can be confusing, expensive, and even risky if you don't know where to start. But with the right approach, it can also be one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do as a wine lover. I'm Anya Gariboldi, a professional sommelier, educator, and Diploma WSET candidate, and today I'll share 6 essential tips for building your perfect wine collection, whether you want to drink it, sell it, or even both. Tip number 1, know your purpose and budget. Are you collecting just for yourself, to drink young wines every day, or do you want to build something long-term, maybe even resell later? If it's just personal enjoyment, focus on wines that are fun and ready to drink within a few years. Things like Saudenrön, Beaujolais, Chianti Classico, Albarino, or Muscadet. If you're investing, then you'll need higher tier wines like Bordeaux First Growth, top Barolos, Napa Cult Cabernets, Grand Cru Burgundy, vintage champagnes. And always think about your budget. How much you're actually ready to invest makes a big difference in what you choose. Think of your cellar as a financial portfolio. You need balance, different categories, different time horizons. Tip number 2, learn your regions and vintages. This is where the real work begins. Buy yourself a wine atlas. Study the major regions, appellations, the grape varieties, and most importantly, understand vintages. Even a prestigious wine loses value if the vintage is poor. For example, Burgundy 1990 was fantastic. Bordeaux 2019, incredible. But a great chateau in a weak vintage will never age the same way and therefore designed for early consumption. And since vintages can make or break a bottle's value, here is something that will help. I've made a free vintage checklist you can actually download. Think of it as your pocket guide. So whenever you're buying, trading, or even ordering a bottle, you can quickly check if that year was legendary or one to pass on. For collectors, this isn't just useful, it can literally save you money. That said, don't dismiss so-called off vintages. Sometimes they can be opportunities. Bordeaux 2011, for example, was underrated at first, but prices improved because the wines were approachable earlier and cheaper, attracting new buyers. Collectors also care about the name. Often, the producer, the chateau or domain, can be more important than the vintage itself, and many buyers are chasing trophy wines. For those bottles, people will sometimes close an eye on the actual vintage. Also remember, younger vintages will attract more as they mature. If you have the resources, buying early and sitting on it for 10 or 20 years can really pay off. Collecting wine is collecting knowledge. Tip number 3, structure your cellar. Here is the simple starter layout for about 50 bottles. 40% short-term wines for everyday drinking. Saudenrön, Beaujolais Cru, Soave, Albarino, and Oak Chardonnay. 30% mid-term wines, drinkable after 3 to 7 years. Etna Rossa, Valpolicella Ripasso, Dry German Rieslings, Austrian Grüner Veltliner. 20 long-term investment wines, aging 10 to 30 years. Bordeaux First Growth, Barolo from great vintages, Napa Cult Cabs, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Hermitage, Queue-Truty, Grand Cru Burgundy. Don't forget sweet wines, Sauternes, Tokaja Stew, German Auslese, and vintage champagne. These age beautifully and are highly collectible. And finally, 10% fun wines. Things like Pinotage from South Africa, Xinomavro from Greece, or Lebanon's Chateau Moussard. Wines that make your collection more adventurous. Tip number 4, know where to buy. The safest option is directly from the winery. Guaranteed authenticity and provenance. Then you have trusted retailers who get allocations and brokers who can find specific wines for you, though they take a little commission. Wine investment companies often buy and premier before bottling, sometimes through exclusive clubs like Screaming Eagle in California. There are also wine trading platforms like Livex in London, or companies that manage portfolios for both knowledgeable clients and complete beginners. Cult Wines, for example, have shown in their presentations with graphs that during crises like 2008 or the pandemic, fine wine prices on Livex fluctuated far less compared to traditional markets, while the S&P index, for instance, dropped by nearly 40%, and of course, auction houses like Sotheby's or Christie's, which track provenance carefully. But beware, the fine wine world has huge problem with fraud. If you don't know the source, you could be paying thousands for a fake bottle. Tip number 5, storage. Wine is alive. and it suffers if you don't treat it properly. You need the right temperature, usually around 12 to 14 degrees Celsius, with consistent humidity, minimal light, and bottles laying horizontally. If you don't have a natural cellar, invest in a good wine fridge. For long-term investment, consider professional storage facilities. Not only do they guarantee perfect conditions, but they also provide official documentation about how your bottles were stored. That gives you credibility when reselling later. Of course, you have to factor in the monthly cost and decide if it's worth it. A practical tip: put tags on the neck of each bottle if it makes it much easier to find what you are looking for in the fridge or cellar. And here is something most collectors forget: taxation. Depending on your country, profits from wine resale can be taxed very differently. In the United States, Australia, and most of Europe, you will generally pay capital gain tax. But in the UK, standard wines are considered wasting assets, things that don't last forever. So profits from reselling are usually tax exempt. There are exceptions, for example, fortified wines, which can age 50 years or even more and might not qualify. In the UK, you can also store bottles in bonded warehouses, specialized facilities with perfect conditions. If you resell wine in bond without ever withdrawing it, you don't pay tax because it was never released for consumption. This makes the UK one of the most tax-friendly jurisdictions for wine investors. Tip number 6: organize and track everything. This is where most of the beginners fail. Keep records: where and when you bought each bottle, the documents, how it was transported, how it was stored. Collectors and auction houses want this history. It's basically the biography of the wine. Without it, the resale value drops. Use spreadsheets, or better, cellar management apps to track your collection. And don't underestimate this. If you lose track, you can even miss the drinking window where the wine was showing at its best. Apps like Cellar Tracker or even Vivina, despite the criticism, can be surprisingly useful to keep everything organized. And here's the bottom line: a wine collection is not built overnight. Start small, buy slowly, and enjoy the process. Because yes, you might make money one day, but more importantly, you'll always have the perfect bottle waiting for the perfect moment.